Hi, I'm Dana, and this is The Walk Legacy. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm in Genesis 23, and I'm going to be talking about the death and the burial of Sarah. So Sarah lived 127 years, and at the time of Sarah's death, Abraham was 137 years old, and Isaac was actually 37. This was a long journey for them. It was about 109 to 111 years of marriage. That's a long time. But when Ishmael was born, Sarah and Abraham had been married for approximately 58 to 60 years, assuming that Sarah was around 16 to 18 and Abraham would have been about 26 or 28 when they got married. In Genesis 16:16, when Ishmael was born, Abraham was 86 and Sarah was 76. In Genesis 17:1, 13 years had already passed, and Abraham is now 99 and Sarah is now 89, and God appears and restates the covenant that he made with Abraham, the promise of his descendants. So this would be about 71 to 73 years of marriage under their belt, waiting on that promise. But in Genesis 17:17, Abraham would be 100 and Sarah would be 90 when Isaac is born. In Genesis 18:11, Sarah was past childbearing age, and so it's assumed that she was in menopause. And based on when Sarah died at 127, the average age of the end of fertility and the beginning of menopause would have been 80 years old then. But what really struck me about this is in Genesis 20, even at 90 years old, Sarah still had to have been beautiful, because King Abimelech took her into his house when he saw her with Abraham. But God came to Abimelech in a dream and warned him not to touch her because she was Abraham the prophet's wife. So he gave her back to Abraham. And this event, I think, just put the fear of the Lord in that king. He knew that the God of Abraham was real, and he was eager to get her back to Abraham. So in Genesis 20:14 through 16, Abimelech gives sheep, oxen, servants, 1,000 pieces of silver to Abraham. And get this, he tells him, settle in the land wherever you please. And it goes on to say in Genesis 20 that God closed all the wombs of Abimelech's house because of Sarah. But Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his maids, so that they bore children. But how amazing is it that Abraham prayed that prayer for someone else that he had not even seen the miracle for himself yet? What an example we can learn from that. And what miracle or promise are you praying for that you can pray for someone else as well? In Genesis 21, 1 through 5, Isaac is born, and Abraham, get this, is now 100 and Sarah is 90. That's how long that they had been waiting. This computes to about 72 to 74 years of marriage. That is pretty crazy when you think that in this modern day, couples can't even stay married for 7 years. But I want to leave you with this scripture. It's found in Hebrews 11, verses 11 and 12, and it just simply says, by faith, even Sarah herself received the ability to conceive, even beyond the proper time of life, since she considered him faithful, who had promised. Therefore was born even of one man, and him as good as dead at that, meaning he was really old, as many descendants as the stars of heaven in number, and innumerable as the sand by the seashore. And this was just a reminder of the scripture in Genesis 13:16 when God originally made this promise to Abraham, the promise of descendants through the son Isaac. And as long as they waited, they still remained faithful. Were they perfect? No. We are not perfect. What is it that you're waiting on? Trust the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will guide your path and make your path straight. I just want to encourage you today that whatever it is that God has promised you, whatever it is, he will complete it. He will finish it. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Philippians 1:6, and it says, he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. I hope this has encouraged you today. Thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next time.